welcome here to Talk FCB and welcome back to the channel, guys, for more reaction from Xavi's first game as the new Barça coach. And of course we got off to the absolute perfect start there. We needed that win, especially given how this season has gone. 3 very precious points. But what we are going to be talking about in today's video is not only the good, but we're also going to be talking about what needs to improve. Xavi was very, very firm on that after the game and sent out some really clear messages on, yes, what we did well, on the players who did well. We're going to be talking about Busquets, about ABDE, the real fantastic display from him, and especially looking towards that game against Benfica. But we are also going to discuss what to improve and how we continue to move forward. The process and the hard work is only just beginning. And let's start here by how we kicked off. Because honestly, guys, before we get into those words there from Xavi and exactly what he made of Saturday's display at the Camp Nou, one thing that I would like to just say is, of course, coming into the game, the expectations, I think they were quite balanced. We didn't know exactly what to expect, how many changes we were likely to see. And of course, in an ideal world, in a dream scenario, we would have scored 3 goals, we would have scored 4 goals, we would have destroyed Espanyol in the derby. But I think given where we are, I think given the situation we're in, given the injuries that we have, what I would say is part of me is quite relieved and quite relaxed, actually, that we didn't just run away with that win. I think we had to work really, really hard for that win yesterday. And actually, you could imagine if it was 3-0, if it was 4-0, think of those expectations. Suddenly then, overnight, everybody would have thought, Barça are back. Barça have got everything worked out. Xavi's come in, he's solved all the problems, and we now expect perfection moving forward. And that wouldn't have been good. So I just think here, keep those expectations realistic. We won. I think we saw some real improvements. I think we saw plenty of changes that we can get behind. But I think we also saw that, yes, this team still needs a lot of work. There's still a lot of things that we need to solve. Xavi needs that time still. And that's why I'm kind of relieved that it was a win. We got what we needed, but we kept those expectations manageable. Because Xavi himself after the game said it's really important for us to start with a win, to start well. He said we did have to suffer, especially in the final minutes, but I think we deserve the win. He said the players were outstanding in their performance, in attitude, in rhythm, and in ambition, and he said this is what we want. What I did, though, like especially about Xavi's words after the game, is that he didn't just stop there. He didn't just say, you know what, we won, the 3 points is good, you know, everything is fine, it's early days. He was very intent on telling us fans that, you know what, I know it's not perfect. I know that that's not exactly what we want to see. He said, I'm happy with the result, the attitude, I'm satisfied with that. But he said we did have to suffer a lot to get there. He said we do have to improve. We have many things still to work on yet. These are 3 important points. But he said, we will play better. And that is really, really important there, to send out that message and just say, look, we're not content with this. We're not content with just getting by. We know we want more. And of course, there was plenty of emphasis there on the latter stages of the game, the last sort of 15 minutes there, where Espanyol really came into the game. They put pressure on us, and honestly, given the chances they had, they probably should have scored. But again, Xavi was quick to understand that issue, to address it, and say, yes, that is something that we have to do better. He said for 75 minutes, I thought we dominated the game, but then we suffered. And this is the key here. He said it's not a physical problem, it's a football problem. It wasn't the fact there that we were getting tired in the latter stage. We can't use that as an excuse. This is a football problem, a problem of how you interpret the game, which is a really, really important message there to just say to the players, look, this is all about what's happening in your head. It's about a mental thing here. In those latter stages, when the pressure starts to come on, it's not about feeling tired, because we had all the ball, the whole game. Espanyol are the ones that should have been tired. It was about there knowing the situation you're in and thriving under pressure, not crumbling under it. And that was really, really important to hear that there. Xavi said we have to keep possession in the opposition's half. That's something that we need to do to handle that late pressure. He said you've got to be calm on the ball. You've got to show personality in those stages of the game. And I think that's one of the most important things there, that we have to come away from this now. We have to see again that the team did a lot of good things. They made a lot of progress. We're going to come on now to that. But still, at the same time, you have to stand up. You have to take it upon yourself to be on the ball, to be brave in those latter stages. Take the pressure off your team and don't allow the opposition to get on top of you in the game, to pen you back, to put pressure on you. Because as we know, and as Xavi knows better than anyone, It's not the Barça way. One aspect, though, of yesterday's performance that I really do want to talk about and look into is the organisation and the structure of the team. Something that I think really, over the past few seasons, we've been lacking that real organisation and that system in place. And I think yesterday there were really, really encouraging signs from Xavi, especially when you think here that he still doesn't have a lot of players available. The players that he really needs to make this system work are still not quite there, but we still managed to see a really positive shape. And you look here at Barça, what you can see straight away is a really high line. We tried to stay very, very high in the field to help with our pressing, to really put Espanyol on the back foot there and control and dominate the game, which we did for most of it. What you would also see there is natural width, genuine width there from both sides. I thought Xavi was outstanding on the left-hand side, considering there that's not his role. It tells you how technically gifted he is that he could play there. He'd clearly been given instructions from Xavi. He'd clearly been told to really stay out there with Jordi Alba, put pressure on Espanyol in that area, and he did it really, really well. And of course, over the right-hand side, we had ILIAS, we had ABDE in the second half, again, holding that width there. But look at the midfield. I think the midfield is very, very important. I think they were a lot closer together. And that's the beauty of having wingers, of having width, because then you don't need to drag Frenkie de Jong out wide. You don't need to drag Nico Gonzalez out into those areas because it's already covered. You want your midfielders there nice and close to Busquets so they can combine all three of them. And I thought Busquets, De Jong and Nico Gonzalez all played a very good game. And I think what was also really, really nice throughout that match, actually, was to see Xavi constantly on the touchline there, giving instructions to his players. We saw him speaking a lot to Gerard Piqué. We saw him also call over Sergio Busquets there and talk with him, understanding the way that he wants to play. He was constantly giving instructions there to those on his side about staying wide, hugging the touchline. That is what you need from your coach there to guide the players, not just before the game, not just after the game, but in-game is very, very important. And again, something that I feel we've lacked. We haven't seen that kind of coaching, that kind of attention to detail from a coach on the sidelines in some time at Barça. After the game, on Sergio Busquets, Xavi said Busquets is a maestro. He is not fast, he admitted that, but he said if we play together, if we play around him, he is a fundamental player in this team. He said he's actually been more valued in the national team with Spain than he has been here at Barça because they play in that way, and he said that cannot be. We have to value Busquets because he can be fundamental for us, and that is a really, really important statement there, because I thought Busquets yesterday in that tight-knitted midfield, he was very good, very instrumental, and he was often the man there, picking up space, finding those little pockets and doing some really good work in them. On ABDE, Xavi as well, very, very complimentary. He said ABDE's second half performance was extraordinary. He said he has so much self-confidence, it means that he can attack the defender every single time. He says he has extraordinary talent, just like ILIAS does too. And I think certainly ABDE there, coming on for that second half, he changed, I think, the game on that right-hand side. He gave us a lot of pace, a lot of energy. He was constantly going at the full-back. Unbelievable pace that he has. And as you can see right here, he attempted last night in the 45 minutes that he had 8 dribbles, and he completed 6 of them. Very, very impressive stuff. And it wasn't only that either, because what I also liked about his game, not only going forward, but he helped out defensively too. When we were up against it, when we needed somebody there to come back in and help Mingueza, he also did that really well, working hard. The only sad part is that on Tuesday against Benfica, he's not going to be there. He is not going to be available because he was not registered in the Champions League squad under Ronald Koeman. Usually their youth players can be added from the B list, but because ABDE has not spent more than 2 years at the club, he only signed in the summer from Hercules. Sadly, he is not going to be involved, and unfortunately, it's the same situation for ILIAS AKHOMACH, because although he could be on the B list, he has been at the club long enough to be included in that B list. Sadly, in his last UEFA Youth League game, that was against Dynamo Kiev just at the start of November, he got a red card. So he's going to be suspended for the Champions League on Tuesday, and that's a real, real shame, because also, what I would like to say, as good as ABDE was, don't write off ILIAS AKHOMACH, because let's not forget here, 17 years old, making his debut at the Camp Nou last night in that kind of atmosphere, starting in a game like that. Of course he was going to be nervous, of course he wasn't going to show his absolute best level, but this young man has a lot of talent, there's a lot still to come from him, we're going to be seeing much, much more of him, so I just want to say there, please, don't write off this young man too quickly. And I also would like to give a few words here on Sergio Aguero, because many people, of course, come to me saying, is it true, is he going to be retiring from football? Rumours have emerged, actually before the game on Saturday, that Aguero has made the decision, due to those cardiac problems, to retire from football. He could make the the announcement officially next week. But what I would say about that is, guys, and why I don't really want to go into this in much detail, let's let him make that announcement. There's lots of rumours flying around, many people wanting to be the first there to report the news, to get it out there to the world. But I just think right now, if he is going to retire, it would be an extremely sad way for such a glittering career to end. It would be a legend leaving the game. But this right now is a delicate moment for Aguero, for his family, something there that he would be going through with them. He deserves his privacy, and I think above all else, he deserves the right to decide when to make that decision and when to make it public. So I'm not going to say any more on Aguero right now. Let's let him have that privacy, and let's let him decide what he wants to do and when he wants to make it official. But please, guys, do let me know your thoughts on what you made there of Xavi's first managerial game at Barça on Saturday against Espanyol. What did you make there of the overall play of the team when you're looking at individuals, when you're looking at the shape, and of course as well, in that final 15 minutes, do you agree with Xavi? Is it a football issue and not a physical one? I will of course see you tomorrow for all of the build-up ahead of Barça against Benfica, which is going to be an absolutely huge game again at the Camp Nou. I will see you soon for all of that good stuff coming up. Thank you as always for your support, and until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.